Hey scrapbook friends, it's Nicole and I'm here with you for another album flip through. This is a 2-volume Disney World scrapbook from a few years ago. I don't remember the name of this album cover, but it was so cute with the little teal foil honeycomb and then the little ghosts on it. I love cute Halloween. I don't really like scary Halloween, so I love cute Halloween, and I thought this would be the perfect album for us to do for an October Disney trip. And we'll just see if I can fit both albums in one video. If not, I will record them separately and I'll post the next one tomorrow. So here we go with our Disney trip. My last name is So, S-O-H, and so our nickname of our trip was the So Fam for So Family Disney Trip. So this is just kind of how we refer to our little group. I did a collage page here. This was using the Creative Memories Imagine collection. I'm going to do a video soon about how I put together these collage pages. I had a retreat last weekend and I just been behind on several things since then. But I love a collage page, and I think it worked especially well for a title page for this album and allowed me to use some of these fun Disney papers and a couple of our favorite photos from the trip. All my titles were cut on my Silhouette using Make the Cut software. I do not keep track of what fonts I use. When I made all these albums, I had no idea I would ever be doing videos of them, so I didn't ever write it down. I'm trying now with the albums I'm doing to remember to write them down, but most of my fonts I have gotten from dafont.com. Where they're free, and you can just go through there and go nuts with fonts that you can download. I use Make the Cut software. I do not know if other softwares allow you to cut any font that you can find on the internet, but that's one of the reasons I love Make the Cut, because it lets me use any font on my computer. All right, so here we go, volume 1 with our SoFam Disney Vacation. We often drive to Florida. We like to stop in the Florida Welcome Center, where they give you, or they used to pre-COVID, you could have orange juice or grapefruit juice and have a couple fun little photo stops. So we started with that. It happened to be my birthday when we were driving down. My sister lives in Orlando, and so our first day we went to her house and they had a little birthday party for me, which was fun. My other sister had come to go to Disney with us, and so we had a little mini family reunion / birthday party all for me. So my daughter Katie lives in Utah, and my daughter Michelle lives here in Alabama with us, and they got back together, and Katie had given Michelle a hoodie like hers, and they are 11 years apart in age, but they look so much alike we love to call them twins, even though they're not really twins. But I love these pictures of these two girls together. And I love this kind of a layout when I have just 6 vertical pictures. I think it just is very visually pleasing. If you put your title up here and then kind of the description or something down here on the bottom, I think the weight of that just looks nice. And I used a little thin stripe, and it's just a fun layout for my not twins. So day 1, we went to Epcot. I often use the Spaceship Earth ball as kind of my inspiration for my Epcot page. I used the jumbo circle for the custom cutting system to cut a circle out of this pattern paper that had kind of a geometric design that reminded me of a little bit of Epcot and what, kind of the feeling of the Epcot ball. But other than that, that's all I did. A very simple page, just an Epcot title. I like to do like a dividing page for each of the parks that we go to. And so it, these are going to be Epcot pictures. We do like to do matching t-shirts at Disney, and we had made some really fun ones for this trip. So you'll see those a lot. Also helps me when I'm scrapbooking, because I know which park something happened in, because I know what shirts we wore. So here we've got Test Track. I think this was probably, it might have been based on an idea I saw on Pinterest. I love having a big title that runs across both pages, and then like the pictures be on the bottom, and always, of course, some room for journaling. And I liked the little dotted white lines on the black. I felt like that was kind of motory. The circles and swirls in this paper kind of evoke motion, and so I felt like it all worked really well for Test Track. All right, Spaceship Earth. When you ride Spaceship Earth, there's a little thing at the end where you get to type in a little touch screen and ask questions, and then they show you a little video. And so I often will take pictures with my phone of the video screen as it's showing us about our future. And that's what that's from. And then this little picture also, I kind of fussy cut around that. Then we went to the seas, only had a couple pictures from the seas. So I don't do a lot of single page layouts, but these two worked really well together because I only had a couple pictures for each. And of course, the little circles at the top, I think, are a fun way to highlight when you just have a small section of the picture that you want to save. This is some old CM water paper from way back when. A lot of this is not CM paper, and I do not have any idea where I got it. I just have a huge paper stash, and I use whatever sparks my creativity when I'm planning out my pages. So here's Future World, the front part of Epcot. Just some random pictures I have that didn't necessarily go with anything. The two that I have from Mission Space, and then this cute little astronaut and space shuttle. We live in Huntsville, Alabama, which is the home of like the U.S. Space and Rocket Center and NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center. So I'm always drawn to little spacey things, and I have a lot of them. And then, of course, the star background I thought was fun. We were there in October, so it was the Food and Wine Festival. This particular layout took me forever. I worked on it at a retreat, and I decided I wanted to copy the little passport that you can get from the Food and Wine activity festival, whatever it is. I love this little design. Ordinarily, I would have taken a picture of this on my phone, uploaded it into Make the Cut, and I probably could have cut it on my silhouette, but I was at a retreat and I didn't take my silhouette with me, and so I thought, oh, I'll just draw it out and cut it. So I spent way too long kind of drawing and cutting this out. The lines are not very straight, but it did exactly what I wanted it to do. Then I came home and took a picture to cut the little title. I love how I was able to cut my journaling box around this title. I think that makes it look really good. And then I made just a little pocket. This is kind of a different pocket than some of the ones I've done, just to hold this without covering up the design. And of course, you slide under the page protector to pull it out. So I thought that was pretty fun, but more work than I generally like to spend on one layout. During the Food and Wine, they had this activity where you go around Epcot, and there's little pictures of Remy, who's the mouse from Ratatouille, like hiding in all the different lands. And so you figure out which, like here he's with the bread, and so we put the bread that was with, whatever country was under here, I don't even remember, and you match it all up, and then when it was all done, we turned it back in, and they stamped the back, and they gave us a pin, a collectible pin for this little Food and Wine hide and squeak, which we thought was very fun. And so we had two of them, and one of them I didn't put the stickers on here. I saved the stickers so I could put them here on my scrapbook layout because that's what I do. All right, we did France. Again, I just have a single page. We always stop for the PhotoPass photographers. People who go to Disney with me know that that's a condition of me paying for their trip. And we get a lot of outtakes. And so this one, I just had these two pictures that were the good ones, but I put some of the funny faces, I cut them small and put them over here. And then because France is red, white, and blue, and the United Kingdom is red, white, and blue, I felt like these two layouts go together, even though they're separate. A lot of times I like to make them look very different, but with this one, it just worked to have them, have these complementary colors. But you can tell that this one's France, this one's United Kingdom. And this is one of our favorite PhotoPass pictures. The photographer was just really kind of playing with us, and he said, all right, everybody point at the lens, and we got that fun little picture. So here's China. We mostly did the shopping. We do a lot of taking pictures of things and not buying them. because then I can just put them in my scrapbooks and keep them that way forever. And then they have had a really cool exhibit of the terracotta tomb wares, which I don't know that they have. And then I think this dragon is a Jolie's sticker, probably from many years ago. But so that's for our little dragon. And I just did red with a gold stripe. It's pretty simple, but I like it. The yellow for the title, to figure out which colors I wanted, I kind of went with this brick red because of the terracotta, and then this yellow was how I chose to pull the yellow out for my title. So this is a very fun layout. When I was making this album, there was a sunburst layout technique going around the Creative Memories Advisor community, and I used a bunch of this map paper, and I made a sunburst, and then I cut it with that jumbo circle pattern, and I think it looks really fun to have kind of the starbursts coming out and all the different pieces of this map paper. Mexico again. I say that I don't do a lot of single page layouts, but obviously I do. And obviously this is a 2-volume scrapbook, so I was trying really hard to keep my book at a manageable thickness. I didn't really succeed. Norway, fun. This is a little boat that I think I found a picture on Google Images, and I just like printed it out on my printer, and then I stuck it with repositional adhesive onto brown paper, and I just cut it out by hand. But I thought he turned out really cute. But I can just tell looking at it right now that the lines aren't as straight as if I had cut it on a silhouette. But sometimes you can't find what you want to cut on a silhouette, and Google Images can be a fun thing. You can even print something out in color and just fussy cut around it. Maybe print it onto some cardstock and put that on. I don't necessarily know the longevity of something printed on my computer, so I wouldn't necessarily have it touch my photos. But anyway, in any case, I chose to fussy cut that one out. Again, probably more work than I should have spent, but turns out it's really hard to find like Norway stickers. Oh, we also thought it was funny that they sell Swedish fish in Norway, which is not Sweden. So we saw the barges going out to get ready for the fireworks. We got stopped behind the drawbridge that goes up and down and closes, so that was fun. Took some pictures about that and just journaled about watching them prepare for the fireworks. And I have this fun kind of wavy paper. Again, I don't know where I got it, but I thought it was fun, and I just cut it on an angle just by hand. I think I used this on one side and the other on the other side, and then I just used that to line up my title. So here in Italy, my daughter has lived in Italy, and so I have a bunch of Italian themed scrapbook paper. So I use that here. And then this is with the scallop burst border punch around the edges. And, just a little frame. This side, I bought this die cut somewhere. I don't know, it was a little laser die cut, and I thought it was cute. And I like tiny things, and we like these little trains between Italy and Germany. So here's Germany. One of our favorite restaurants in all of Epcot is the Germany Beer Garden restaurant. And I have the little Jolie's German stickers, and I decided to kind of copy the feeling of those buildings that you can see in Germany with kind of the exposed wood beams. And I absolutely love how this turned out with that feeling of the wood beams and then those little Jolie's stickers. The nighttime fireworks is called Illuminations. I take a lot of pictures of the fireworks, but I always try to turn my camera and take pictures of the people watching the fireworks, because to me that makes a much more interesting scrapbook layout to have the people that I care about. I mean, fireworks are pretty when you're there, but not so much like looking at them in a picture. And this is one of my very favorite layouts I've ever done. We have these cool lights in the ground at Epcot, and I had this funky glitter tie-dye paper, and I wanted to do something, and it's a lot easier to see in person, harder to see on the camera. But I did a little layered title. Let's see. I don't know if I can show it to you, but it's I cut the same title out of several pieces of cardstock, and I layered it. So when you look at this book in real life, you can really see the title, especially when you look at it kind of from an angle, but you guys looking at it straight on, I'm sorry, I don't know how to show you that title and how kind of cool it turned out. But just by changing the dimension of the title, so it's not flat, it's raised up and has those black, I think I did 3 layers of black cardstock underneath it. And I just did that by cutting it all on my silhouette, making sure that I put the title where I wanted it when I cut it out of this piece, and then cutting it identical underneath and layering it. And I'm really disappointed that it doesn't look as great in the video as I feel like it does in real life. So we were staying at the All-Star Movies. I had this piece of, I think it was probably 8.5 by 11 Disney paper. And so I just fussy cut around it so that I could spread it out over 2 pages. A lot of times pattern paper seems to be like a single page. And if you have all this design on one single page, you don't really have much room for pictures. And so by cutting the pieces apart, you can spread that design over 2 layouts. And because these pictures were at night, I chose to put it on a dark background, and no other embellishments, just of course some journaling. So the next day, you can see we're in different shirts. We went to Animal Kingdom. I have a bunch of this old Creative Memories animal print paper, and I just thought it would be fun to use all of them and to kind of make this border just with squares. And I think they're like 2 by 2.5 maybe, squares behind, and then this little section where I actually did put the 3 pictures that I have. I don't love to do a double page layout for just 3 pictures, but when I'm doing a Disney trip, I want to kind of keep the pictures together that go together. And so sometimes that's what I got to do. I got to have 3 pictures on a double page spread. So I printed this one as a 5 by 7 and did some journaling, and I think it's a fun transition and a fun way to get us into now Animal Kingdom. Our first stop was Expedition Everest. One of the great things about the yellow shirts was it was super easy for me, who was standing at the bottom, to get a picture of the people that were riding the ride. I knew exactly which one was us. I saw them as they went up the hill, and I got this picture and I enlarged it. I took a whole bunch of pictures, and then when I got home, I was able to look at it on my computer. I was able to enlarge this to an 8 by 12 and just cut them out, and I think it's super fun. I copied kind of the little flags that they have all in that Asia section of Animal Kingdom. I actually put this on a piece of baker's twine that's tucked beneath the background page, using some old CM pattern papers that I had that I thought just went really well. And then these are the 2 pictures we got from the camera, the ride camera. I thought that was a very fun way to kind of put all these in and turn it into a full layout. All right, Dino Land is one of the lands in Animal Kingdom, and we just had kind of some random pictures. I have 1 picture from the dinosaur ride and 2 pictures from the Triceratops spin, and just kind of these things. I put them all together with this fun dinosaur paper, probably Echo Park. Just from looking at it, I feel like it might be Echo Park. I used their stickers and just was able to kind of use that fun dinosaur paper. We had a fun little interaction with Donald Duck. We did a selfie. I have a picture. This is the selfie. The PhotoPass photographer took a picture of us taking the selfie, which I thought was fun. And there was nobody there. We practically had him all to ourselves. So that was fun to get a whole bunch of pictures. And yeah, it's only me and my husband getting our picture taken with the duck because our kids didn't care. So then after Dinoland, we headed over to Africa and got our picture, just again, random picture taking. I had this kind of elephant paper, and I don't know if it was the other side or if a different paper, it was kind of elephant skin. And so I just kind of put a small rectangle, but left it white. And if you've been following my layouts for a while, you see here's that like 4 square design that I like. This is interesting because these 3 pictures were taken with my big camera, my digital SLR. And this was obviously taken with a phone because a SLR picture is 4 by 6. and phone pictures are 4 by 5.33. So instead of it lining up right here, like it, you know, this, the 4 by 6s, when you turn them, it's a little bit short. But I always like to put that white space to the outside. You see right here, that's where I put it, and I think it still has the same impact as if that was a complete square. You probably didn't notice it till I mentioned it. We always like to do the safari ride. Lots of just pictures of animals. This must have been a selfie. My husband likes selfies. And just, you know, cut the pictures up, kind of again, a little collage. I had some more random pictures, and I went back to that same kind of design that I did my initial Animal Kingdom layout with, a little bit different. I think these are 1.5 by 1.5 inch squares. I don't know. And then I love this, Please Don't Feed the Animals, as a title for Animal Kingdom, just for our random Animal Kingdom photos. We stopped for a photo pass, surprise, several places in front of the Expedition Everest. And what was really neat was the photographer saw this. My daughter's best friend, Aubrey, was with us, and he saw that her glasses were mirrored. And so he set up this picture where you can see that, like, he got the reflection of the mountain in her glasses, which is really cool. So that was fun. Always ask the PhotoPass photographer if there's fun stuff that they can do, because sometimes there is, and sometimes they're tired and grumpy and they won't suggest it. But a lot of times they're happy to do that. And I don't know what's happening right now with COVID and PhotoPass photographers, but that's one of our favorite things, is the PhotoPass, and to stop anytime we see one of those photographers. This paper is old CM, back when we had the 10 by 12 paper. I know what it's called, I promise, but I can't remember. And I probably did not cover the complete back with this because I don't like to waste all that paper that's going to be hidden. So it's probably just strips, probably 1.5 inch strips. And then I put this other colored paper over the top just to kind of give it a frame. Festival of the Lion King. This layout, I'm positive, came from an idea that I saw on Pinterest that was a digital layout that someone had done. And I had saved it to my Pinterest board. I loved it so much, but I don't do digital. And so I was able to recreate it using punches. So this is like the scallop burst, it's a straight border, but by trimming it and folding it, I was able to make it go around a circle. The zigzag border maker, this was another one of our punches, but I had to cut it. This is not what the design originally looked like. I had to trim it to make it give me that diamond. And I just really like it. I think it's fun and feels kind of the flavor of this Festival of the Lion King, which is one of the really, really great shows at Animal Kingdom. And then the other really great show that we love at Animal Kingdom is Finding Nemo the musical. It's just so good. You know, Finding Nemo the movie is not a musical, but now whenever we have happened to see the movie, I think we're all disappointed because we love the music so much. So highly recommend this one at Disney's Animal Kingdom. And all these pictures were taken with no flash. So I didn't disturb the performers or the people around me. You are allowed to take pictures in both of these shows. They just ask that you do no flash. And because of the light on the stage, your pictures turn out okay. So this next one is another, I think I've showed you guys a fold-out page before. This is Kali River Rapids. This is one of our very favorite rides in all of Disney World. And I took some pictures here of just kind of the queue as you're getting on the line, and then some pictures of us after when we're soaking wet. But I have a little waterproof camera that I like to take. And so for this one, I had so many pictures that I did some fold-out pages. One of the very first YouTube videos I ever did was about how to create these fold-out pages. And I'm pretty sure that this is the layout that I showed for that video about how to create the fold-out pages. And it's a fun way to add a whole bunch of pictures. I could have crammed these all onto just 2 pages, but it was really fun to kind of spread them out and be able to have just kind of this bubbly, fun layout. I wouldn't do it a lot because it does add bulk to your album, but it was really fun to do this time. So if I remember, I will link to my fold out album in the comments or in the description. All right, here we go again. Some, again, random Animal Kingdom pictures. This is after we rode Kali River Rapids. I think we probably rode it several times. Let's see. Yes, I said we always save Kali River Rapids for the end of the day because we know we're going to at least get wet and very possibly get drenched. We had fast passes, but the line was super short, so we rode 3 times, and boy, were we soggy. So we have these pictures just of us kind of all wet. We're all kind of wearing flip-flops and stuff. We had taken emergency shoes to change into, and then here we are like squeezing out our clothes when we got back to the car. So I just thought that was a fun way to kind of end our day at Animal Kingdom. Then the next day we went to Disney's Hollywood Studios. We had not planned to wear these same shirts again. They are a picture my daughter had drawn, and they say, "I lava you," from the Disney Pixar short called Lava. But we had gotten so many compliments on them on Monday when we wore them to Animal Kingdom that we washed them after we came back from Animal Kingdom. We're soaking wet. We did a load of wash and washed all the shirts so we could wear them again to Hollywood Studios. So I have 2 days where we're wearing the same matching shirts, which is not something we've done before, but it was fun and we loved the shirts. And Hollywood Studios is fun just to have a little kind of movie themed icons. All I did here is blank white page. There's just a little dot. I just put my ruler up along here to make sure that my line was pretty straight. I just did a little dot design. Put those in the corners. I think it's fun to have a white page once in a while. And then, of course, we'll contrast that with this very not white page that is kind of this footlights paper, some glittery paper, and then the pictures from inside the ride. And the great movie ride is no more. So I'm glad that there are a few times I've taken pictures in there. And this is that same kind of thing with the title that kind of goes across both sides and then the pictures down here at the bottom. I tend to kind of do that a lot. So here's Toy Story Midway Mania. I had bought this paper somewhere and it had some cut aparts and it had this little title block. So I used that as my title block, and then these pieces just kind of corresponded together. This could very possibly be a Scrapbook Generation sketch. I love those. I use those a lot. But, you know, I matted my pictures on this. This time I matted these two together. I didn't mat them individually. I left a little bit of blue here just to kind of mix it up a little bit because it's a super busy background and you really want to mat your pictures if you can on a busy background to keep them from getting lost in that background. All right, these feel really thick. Okay, one of the fun things about Disney's Hollywood Studios is they have what they call streetmosphere, actor characters that go around and just kind of do these random little shows. And so there was this fun little show with this girl, Evie Starlight, choosing who she was going to go on a date with. Was it Sunny Burbank or Bo Wrangler? And they did all these little funny things. And in the end, she went over to this guy in the crowd and she says, "I'm going to go out with George Lucas." And he wasn't, of course, George Lucas, but he was just a guy with a beard. And it was very fun, very entertaining. I was glad we had time to stop and do that. And I just used some kind of random papers, but I had the film strip border punch and then this font that had the stars in it. I think it turned out really fun. More film strip. One of the things I love about the film strip cartridge, which is long since retired, but that it overlaid with the star cartridge, also long since retired. And you got this kind of fun border look using, this is two border makers laid together with each other. So the way the border maker system works, a lot of times things will layer together. So play around with the cartridges that you have, and maybe you can, create a neat effect of, what you're to add to your layer, your borders, and with the layering features that come from just the mechanics of how the border maker works. So again, some random pictures: Tower of Terror, Rock and Roller Coaster, a statue of Dick Clark, just things that I didn't have enough to do a full page layout for. I put all here together on my Hollywood Studios page. The Beauty and the Beast live stage show, one of our absolute favorites. Not a lot to say about it. I think I just said it's fantastic, and it's like a mini Broadway show performed 5 times a day. So just, you know, a little swirly font and a tiny bit of journaling, kind of the photos kind of speak for themselves, even though I don't think photos ever speak for themselves. I think they always benefit from a little journaling. Frozen Ever After, one of the most fun shows in all of Disney. We love it. One of my favorite things, as I've gone to the show several times, is seeing just all the little girls that are singing their hearts out because they sing along with the show, and often all the dads are on their phone. It's just very funny, but the moms are usually singing, and even some of the teenagers sometimes can't help but sing along. And so I just kind of took some random pictures. We love the little narrators. They just make the whole show. Even if you are done with Frozen, never want to hear Let It Go ever again, go see the Frozen Ever After show. It's just very cute. We randomly came out of the Frozen show and they had a little cornhole game. I don't know if this has another name, like a beanbag toss. In the South, we call it cornhole. It was just randomly there, and the guy said, "Hey, do you want to play?" And we did. And turns out I'm actually pretty good at cornhole, so I liked it. This is probably another Scrapbook Generation sketch. I don't know where this paper is from. It's a pretty busy page for me. The pictures I trimmed down so they're small, but you know, as a scrapbooker, this was just a fun page, and these pictures, they're okay. They're trimmed down because they don't need to, you know, they don't tell much of a story. Okay, so the Phineas and Ferb page. I also know this is totally from a Pinterest idea that I saw. I happen to have the Phineas and Ferb stickers from Jolie's. I probably bought them after I had took these pictures. They're not the ones I necessarily would have bought just for my stash, but we had the little Victorian fence punch that came out. I used the custom cutting system. Again, it was a digital page that I saw on Pinterest, and I replicated it traditionally. But it's just a fun page. It's Phineas and Ferby. This I cut on my silhouette by importing the picture of the logo from the real show, and it's just a fun kind of looking like a cartoony fun page for Phineas and Ferb. And then Fantasmic is the night show at Hollywood Studios. It's my daughter Katie's favorite of the shows. And, you know, it's not a whole lot of pictures of the show itself because we do go to Disney fairly often and I take pictures all the time at all the shows. I try to do something different every time and not just say, oh, look, here's Mickey with fireworks coming out of his hands, and here's Steamboat Willie driving the boat, to do something kind of different. But I thought this one turned out fun. I had this piece of paper that said magical, and I think it had the sorcerer's hat on it, but I used a different sorcerer's hat and then the stars. So not a lot of CM stuff in here, but a lot of papers that I've collected over the years because I do go to Disney a lot. And then this last page, this was the first layout I ever did using one of the Creative Memories recipe templates. This was called Wildflower. It was released and it sold out super quick, and I'm very lucky that I got my hands on it. And it was my first chance to kind of play with it, and so I cut out every single little possible shape. So it's a pretty busy page. But I had all these pictures of us on our phones at different places, and I just thought it would be a fun thing to say, we're not addicted to our phones. And then at the bottom I said, oh, okay, maybe we're a little bit addicted. So that's volume 1 of our SoFam Disney trip. Even the Creative Memories logo on the back is in that fun teal foil. I'm going to go ahead and end this video now. I will record the next one. I'll post it in a day or two so that I don't, you know, make you sit here for an hour looking at just one Disney trip. But it was a 1-week Disney trip, so the fact that I fit it into 2 albums is pretty special for me. Thanks a lot. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll be back soon with volume 2. Happy scrapbooking.